Hello and welcome to Soul in Balance. My name's Alicia and this is the place to get your regular cosmic news. Even though it hasn't been very regular, it's been a while since I've done a full moon video, but this is the place to get your regular cosmic news. So in this video, we are going to be going over the Taurus full moon. Now, the Taurus full moon is going to be happening on the 31st of October, which is also going to be Halloween. And it's also going to be a blue moon as well. So if you'd like to stay up to date with the cosmic weather, make sure you subscribe and we will get to the video. Alrighty, so full moon in Taurus, where to begin? Okay, so this full moon is going to be at 8 degrees and 38 minutes of Taurus and is going to be joining Uranus. And Uranus is the rapid change master. It's like lightning bolt change, eureka moments. It's enlightenment. It's really about, breaking an old habit, because if we look at, say, the sun that's in Scorpio and Taurus, this axis here is a fixed axis. So we really need to be breaking away from our old patterns and the way we've always done things. And if we look at Taurus is, the bull. It's in its own paddock. It likes to do its own thing. It likes to plod along. It likes to stay fixed and keep repeating the same things day in and day out. And, with Uranus here, it's really telling us to, hey, it's time to change. We've got all this, new information and downloads and understanding, and we need to do something about that now. We can't stay fixed in the way that we've been doing things because it's actually causing more trauma to continue to repeat the patterns that we've been, going along with. And, it has been quite a rough time lately. A lot of us at the moment are experiencing massive amounts of anxiety, of fear, of trauma, betrayal. Many things in our lives are just crumbling and falling apart. And, I've been saying this for years now on my videos because this really is just a time of all our old structures just crumbling and breaking away. And there is still a lot of fear around this, and there's been a lot of abandonment, and we've all had to come in, especially during all these lockdowns and having to really face our own stuff. We've really grown and learnt so much, and now is the time that we need to just break away from the old. Like, the old just doesn't exist anymore. Our old lives, especially from the start of the year, our old lives just don't exist the way they used to anymore. And there is a huge emphasis on relationships and relating because the ruler of this full moon is Venus, and Venus is in its co-ruling sign, which is Libra, which Libra is all about relationships. And Venus is opposite Chiron, and Chiron is in Aries, which is where we're wounded within ourselves, and how that affects our relationships and what relationships we attract and how we behave in relationships. So it's definitely a time of, healing the heart, healing relationships, if relationships can be salvaged. There are a lot of people getting into relationships. There's a lot of people getting out of relationships right now because we're changing, we're growing, so this is a time to let go of our old relationship patterns. We have flogged that dead horse until we have literally killed ourselves in the process. Like, there is no moving forward now with the old way we used to do things in relationships, the old way we used to get our needs met. Like, we need to start realizing that we need to be meeting our own needs first and foremost, and not looking outside of ourselves for that ego justification of feeling loved. This is with Chiron and Aries. It's saying, hey, I'm perfect as I am. I am the am that I am. And like, I need to love me. You know, I don't need this ego recognition of somebody loving me to be loved. I don't need to stay in this broken, toxic relationship to feel loved. I don't need to stay in this old pattern, the way that I get my needs met anymore. It's really a time to let go of the old ways that we have been connecting to people and really show up for ourselves first, so then we can attract healthy relationships. And this is across the board. This can be with friends, this can be at work, this can be with family, this can be, you know, any type of relating. We really need to be checking our relationships with ourselves first and really have a look at the company that we are keeping. You know, like, we need to be honoring ourselves. Like, we really need to be in alignment and being associating with people that are on the same journey as us, that are, you know, that get things the way we do, that understand life and where we're headed the way we do. This is a time of, you know, especially with the North Node in Gemini, it's about finding communities and people and groups that are in alignment with us. You know, we can't keep holding ourselves back to maintain a connection that isn't serving us, that isn't helping us grow. And don't get me wrong, like, all relationships, whether toxic or healthy, they do help us grow. Like, but this is a time where we don't need to keep repeating the same pattern over and over and over again. And it has been really hard, like, with all this destruction out in the world and, you know, all our external things crumbling, and then we're just grasping at any kind of relationship just to feel connected to something. But we really need to just be connecting to ourselves first. So then we have healthier connections. And, you know, this can be a really great time with Venus opposite Chiron in Aries, is to really heal your heart. Like, really focus on healing your heart. And with this enlightenment coming with Uranus, with the full moon, it's really just giving us that information we've needed. You know, maybe it's information that we've heard for years and years and years, but we haven't implemented it. You know, but now we've just had this big wake-up call, like, hey, I'm not going to freaking keep doing this. I'm not going to keep associating with people that don't, you know, that don't serve me, that don't see my worth, that don't value me, that use me, whatever it is. You know, we are really just getting these like lightning bolt, you know, information come through of, you know, our own patterns and how we can be toxic in some ways. Because I think sometimes when we attract toxic people, it's because even if you're an empath, there's still something toxic within yourself that you don't feel that you're lovable. So, you know, you get into these toxic relationships with people that also probably don't feel like they're lovable. And, you know, this is how these like narcissistic empath relationships, you know, come about. And, you know, I'm not one to diss narcissists, as hard as it is to be with a narcissist. They are here to help wake empaths up. You know, to see their worth, to see their value, you know, because otherwise empaths will just keep pouring from an empty cup, giving and giving and giving, waiting for somebody to give and love them the way that they do. So a narcissist comes along saying, I'm not going to give you what you want. You know, like, you can give to me and I'm just going to take from you and I'm going to treat you like crap. So you learn to value and love yourself. And, you know, we've all probably had a few of these lessons along the way this year, is to, you know, you need to save yourself. And it's been a really big theme that I've noticed this year with Mars in Aries is, you know, you really need to be saving yourself. Nobody's going to save you now. Like, you know, it's really just a time that we need to find our own power and find our own truth and be our own warrior for ourselves and fight our own battles. Like, instead of going to other people for advice, check in with yourself for advice. You know, no one knows your situation and your story better than you. And this is a lesson that I've learned this year as well, is that I don't need anybody's approval to do the right thing for myself. You know, like, I don't need validation from anyone. If I think that something is just and if something is right, you know, like, I am going to speak up and I'm going to say something about it. And I don't need to, you know, get anyone's approval or have anyone agree with me. I'm doing what I need to do for myself. And I think this was a big lesson when Mars was going direct, and now that it's going retrograde and soon will be going direct again, it's been more of a time to reflect on this. So it's definitely, this year has definitely been a time of, realizing our worth, that we don't need all these external structures like our jobs and, all these things that we thought brought us worth and stability. We don't actually need them. All the stability and love and worth that we need is within ourselves. And it's been, a school of hard knocks this year. It has been so tough, like what we've been through. Like, me personally, there's been so many dark nights of the soul for me. Like, there's been times where I just have thought, I hope some alien race comes and beams me off the planet, because I just can't do it anymore, like it's been so difficult. But at the end of the day, when you keep soldiering on and you do the work and you process things and you start moving forward, you really learn to love and value yourself so much more. Like how much courage you have and how much strength you have, and you can do anything on your own, and you need to do things on your own in a healthy way before we go back out there and reconnect. And I think that this is a lot of the theme that's going on here, which is, which you really need to be checking in your birth chart where this full moon and Uranus is. But the core of it all for the collective is really about understanding ourselves and changing our old patterns and our old toxic structures, for good now. Like, me personally, I don't even want the old structures that I used to have in my life. And I'm so grateful for the intense lessons that I've had this year, that's made me really see, my own patterns. So I think we're all in the same boat here, with this whole situation where we're just really needing to just focus on ourselves and making ourselves happy with just the simple things. Like, I'm in Melbourne, so we've been in like the most extreme lockdown. Like it ended a couple of days ago, and we've been in lockdown pretty much since the start of the year in March. So it's really just been a time of just trying to make yourself happy from the really simple things, like there's so much trauma going on. There's so much, like spanner thrown in the works lately, so it's been really good to just come back and reflect and sit with yourself. And another thing that's making this whole shit show even a lot harder at this full moon is we've got Mercury retrograde squaring Saturn in Capricorn. Now, when we need to be able to communicate how we're really feeling and what we need to discuss and how to resolve things, we're going to get blocked by Saturn. Saturn's going to be the taskmaster and say, hey, is this what you really want? Because I'm going to test you. I'm going to make sure that you've really got the lesson, that you really want what you want. And it's just going to block it. And then this is a time where you just have to be slow and steady wins the race. Have more time to reflect if you need to. So it might not be a good full moon to discuss in a relationship how you'd like to fix things, how you'd like to move forward. This can just be a time of more inner reflection, that any kind of outward expression of fixing situations might be misunderstood, might go unheard, might be rejected, might be seen in a different way than what you're portraying it to be. So I don't suggest that any kind of serious relationship discussions should take place. However, if it needs to, I think it's always important to discuss things. If you feel in your heart that you need to say something and you're going to explode and it's something you really need to do, then I always suggest you do it. But if you can hold off a couple more days, or even till Mercury goes direct, which is very, very soon as well, and then Mars goes direct as well, that can be a better time to discuss things and move forward. But it really is just a time of just still inner processing. So I'm going to quickly read the Sabian symbol for the degree of this full moon before I do the oracle cards for the report. So for 9 degrees of Taurus, we have a fully decorated Christmas tree, the ability to create inner happiness in dark hours, faith in the cyclic renewal. Now, as we've had many dark nights of the soul, me personally, one of the things that I've really learned and has been so helpful for me is the ability to understand that your mind is not always your friend. That yes, our mind can be an ally, but there are times where your mind works against you, that it plays scenarios out to you, plays old patterns out to you, gives you the worst case scenarios. And especially with the sun being in Scorpio, like this can be like absolute paranoia, and just having visions of things that haven't even happened. And, I'm not even going to mention as well, like the past life stuff that we're clearing, that is also haunting us at some degree as well and is up to be cleared too. So, some of the visions and thoughts that we've been having are just so freaking scary, are so awful, that really do just put us in these dark hours, these real like low vibrational feelings where you just don't want to keep going anymore. And I think with this Sabian symbol, it's saying like cyclic renewal, like we can renew this, we can transform this with enlightenment. And one of the tools that I've been using is to not take everything so seriously. Like it's all just a play. It's all something that we've created from our own beliefs, from our own patterns. And just to be able to, in the moment of desperation or fear or anxiety, whatever it is to just think, okay, I've created this and it's just a thought. It's just a thought. And I can snap out of it. Like you might have to go for a walk. You might have to listen to some beautiful music. You might have to get up and do something. But just realize it's just a thought. And we, put ourselves through so much trauma from just a thought. And the pain body, if you are interested in Eckhart Tolle, he talks about the pain body and how our pain body will react to thoughts in our mind from past traumas. So it's really, really important that we're not frightening ourselves to death right now. Like that if we're having these negative thoughts or these fearful thoughts or these paranoid thoughts or of what might be happening or what people are thinking or what's gonna happen and how we're not loved and how we're not valued and blah, blah, blah. And it goes on and on and on and on. Like, just know that, your mind is not always your friend. And one thing that I've started doing this last month is having St. John's wort. So I'm studying natural medicine. I have a lot of herbs at my house, like just jars and jars of herbs, and I make my own tablets. So I've started taking St. John's wort because St. John's wort, helps you with anxiety and stress, and it also helps you hold the light in your body. So I've been having St. John's wort like first thing in the morning. And then if I'm having some, bout of anxiety with all the, trauma going on in the world, I'll have, another tablet of St. John's wort. And it has been absolutely fantastic. And it really does help you hold the light in your body. So when thoughts come into your mind, they're just a lot easier to repel or observe these thoughts and just think, you know what? I'm going to create it if I keep thinking about it. And for right now, whatever I'm thinking, whatever's falling apart in my life, whatever another disaster's popped up or another hopeless situation, it's not happening right this second. Like right this second, I'm okay. Right this second, I've just gone for a walk at the lake, or I've just spoken to a friend, or I've just had a good meal, and right this second, I'm okay and I'm safe. And this has been some of the ways that I've processed these things. And especially a good thing to have at this time is rose tea, or even picking roses. So because the ruler of this full moon is Venus, and Venus represents the heart. And if we think about roses, we give roses to somebody you love, you know, so it represents the heart. And then roses are also very healing. So if you have a rose, roses out in your garden, go pick them, go get yourself some beautiful roses and put them next to your bed. And then when they start to die, go make a tea with that. That's what I've been doing, and it's been really, really beautiful. Like, just feeling so warm in my heart and feeling loved, and it really does take the edge off some of these traumatic feelings that are really coming through, these fear feelings. And I think another thing too is to check in with people. Like, if you think something really shitty, and it's relating to a friend or relating to some situation, go and ask somebody. Go and say, hey, is this what's happening? And you'll probably find, like what's happened with me, 99% of the time, it's not even the way that you think it is. It's just there's so much intensity with fear and anxiety right now, with so much going on, with all the planets in Capricorn, with all the destruction we've had this year, with everything we've lost, with the sun in Scorpio. It's just so highlighted. We're so just on edge, just waiting for something else to collapse or go wrong or whatever it is. So, there are some, beautiful things that you can do to help take the edge off things. I'm not somebody that promotes pharmaceuticals because I think they're a load of shit. Mainly because they just knock you out when, you're feeling these feelings or, having these thoughts or going through these things for a reason, so you can observe them or heal from them or learn them or change them, whatever it is. So there are natural alternatives that you can have that will help take the edge off, so you can still do the work yourself. So you're not dependent and relying on something to make you numb and knock you out. So yeah, I just want to quickly add that little bit in there about those herbs. So, definitely have a look into getting St. John's wort. St. John's wort does have a lot of other issues when it comes to pharmaceutical medication. So if you're on the pill or taking antibiotics, they can have an adverse effect. But all in all, it is fantastic for anxiety and stress. And I can sit there and say that I've been taking them every day for a month now, and I am so much better than what I was a month ago. So much better than when, this Melbourne lockdown has been absolutely terrible. But yeah, so I'll get into the cards for this reading. Oh, a whole heap came out right there. Maybe that's all I need, 3. Okay, so we have what you want wants you. We have faith in the process. And we have release the dark wound, let love in. Okay, so first up, what you want wants you. Okay, so the life that you really want, what you really desire, what your soul really, really wants from an unconditional place, a place of alignment, that wants you too. And that already exists somewhere in a parallel universe, because whatever we believe, we create. So what you want, what you really desire for your life moving forward into your new life, it wants you too, and it's already exists. You just have to believe and take action to get that. And there are so many, law of attraction, people that you can watch on YouTube to help motivate you, to help you get to where you want to go. But it's really an important time to just focus on being positive, no matter how much, you're getting smashed or everything's crumbling and whatever it is. Do your best just to observe it and let it go. We don't have to be buying into every single feeling right now. We can just pick and choose certain things that we want to work with. We don't have to just be so attached and go down into the gates of hell with every single feeling. So yeah, definitely at this time, we really need to be focusing on being positive and keeping our mindset on what we want, not on what we don't have, not on lack, because what we do is we focus on the lack and what we don't have, and then we just get more of the same. So this isn't going to work. So we really, if we want this, what you want wants you, if you want what you want, you need to be thinking about what you want and being positive and, like aligning with your true soul's, destination. And that can be a thing too. What you want might not be what your soul wants, might not be what's part of your journey. So you also need to be willing to let go of what probably isn't resonating with you, what isn't right for you, and what you need to let go of and learn from. Like there's many things that I've had to let go of this year that I really wanted. But at the end of the day, like I'm so glad they're gone now, even though I wanted them so much. Like they weren't in alignment with me. They didn't serve me. Like they served me in the sense of that I learned and I grew, and I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't have those experiences, but they weren't going to be coming with me to the next step of my journey. So it's important with this though, that we don't get everything we want, and that's for a good reason. Okay, and we've got have faith in the process. So, which I was pretty much just saying just before, is just to have faith in the process, that if it's in alignment with you, if it's meant to be in your life, it'll be in your life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a friendship, whether it's, some kind of creative expression, whatever it is, have faith in the process. And if you don't get the exact thing you want, something better is probably going to come along and match it or be better than that. So, it's really just a time of just being open and having faith, not just zooming in on the one tiny detail of something that you want. It's usually something superficial anyway. It's just to be open and be like, yep, I want this, and I'm going to allow the universe to bring it to me however the universe sees fit, whatever is in best alignment for my soul. And then we have release the dark wound, let love in. Now this really, really goes along with the Venus Chiron opposition, and also with this new moon with Uranus there. It's really about letting go of those old patterns, and especially if in relationships we've been like in a state of lack, like, maybe in childhood we didn't get our emotional needs met, our nurturing needs met. So, like we didn't get our codependency needs met and our mirroring needs met. So we spend our lives trying to, make people love us or doing things to make people love us, but we're in a state of lack. And then it creates more and more and more of that trauma because we don't believe we are loved. We believe that we're empty and we don't have what we want, so we have to hold on to it for dear life and all these things. So, this is these dark wounds that we need to be letting go of and letting love finally come in. And like, me, myself, I had a bit of a traumatic childhood, and I know, as I was growing up, I was extremely codependent in relationships, and, I thought that, there was no other way, that I just had to get my needs met like that. And now it's just been so good just to realize that I can let go of that old patterning, that I'm loved, like I'm perfect the way I am. And you know what I mean? Like all the love I need is my own. And when I'm loved and when I feel full is when other people are going to come and love me the way I love me, and I think this is a really big lesson, of, just releasing that dark wound, like whatever it is for you, whether it's abandonment, betrayal, whatever it is, just releasing that dark wound. And it can even relate to, work or friendships as well, not feeling, you're good enough to have this perfect job you want, or create the career that you want, or the whatever it is. And so you always feel like you have to impress people and grasp at things, but not understanding that you can have that you all are already what you want to be. Like it's within you, and you don't need all these external validation. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to do anything outside yourself, if that makes sense. But yeah, so definitely, releasing that dark wound, especially in love. Like there's enough love, you know, like, and to reach for the love that is right for you, you know, not, you know, thinking that you can be with somebody and change them, and, you know, like, to fix that old wound from, you know, when your parents didn't give you the love you needed, and if you could just, when you're a kid, turn around and make them love you and be what you wanted. That's what people repeat in their adult life. They think, I'll be with this dysfunctional person, and if only I can make them love me, it'll heal that wound from when I was a kid, you know. And we don't know that we do it. It's so subconscious. But this is the time to realize that, you know, we don't need that anymore. We're not little kids anymore, you know, like, we can love ourselves. And, you know, the only validation and love and support that we really need is our own, first and foremost. You know, like, if we're constantly looking outside of ourselves for these things, we're constantly at the mercy of other people and something external, when, you know, we could just be filling our own cup and feeling loved, and then attract what we actually want. But there are a lot of lessons there, you know, like, some people can feel like receiving love, you know, doesn't feel like love, because that's not what love was in childhood. Love was abandonment. Love was neglect. So that doesn't feel like love. For some people, love feels like, you know, someone's apart from them. And this is a time where we need to be changing that around and making it so love feels like something that's present. Love feels like something that's always in me and always around me. So yes, I hope that helps. Especially if you have any relationship stuff going on right now. But yes, that is it for me, and I hope you have a super magical full moon in Taurus. I'll see you soon.